spot for me in your heart or in your memory. Hope you know that I was gonna do the song eventually. Hope you still keep me by your side mentally. Nothing in this world could add up to what you meant to me. Subtract everything, it doesn't mean anything. Used to argue about any and everything. Our friends used to laugh at us and say,
HuBe's. What's going on, man? Wow. That's all I gotta say right now. It's wow. It's been quite a week, you know, or quite a beginning to our year here. Happy New Year and whatnot. And we have to start off the podcast with a very special video, man. And of course, it's a video related to them people storming the Capitol building. I'm crying already. Because it's bad. And it's the one with the lady on the wall. Now, that was a funny video. But if you've been on the internet, you already know and you already see. They put the Super Mario sound effects on this video. And this is the funniest shit I've probably seen in years. All right. Video podcast, you're gonna have a good time with this. Let's watch. Yo, you can't beat that. All right, and I'm gonna tell you why. For a few reasons, you can't beat that. One, yo, look at Shorty outfit. She got on the same clothes as Super Mario. How? This is why you can't tell your kids that they could be anything they want to be when they grow up. Because some of them grow up and they want to be Super Mario. Can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? This is the importance of health and wellness right there. Why you climbing up walls and you ain't bring your climbing up walls muscles with you? Huh? How you storming the building and all you got is your sunshine muscles? Come on, man. Like Frog would say, your little man muscles. How you do that with your little man muscles? I ain't man. You squong. Come on, man. And the backpack. Look at the backpack. Shorty brought everything with her but upper body strength. And it's bad. All right. And I'm crying over here. Okay, and I can't tell if I'm crying because how hurt she had to be when she hit them barricades at the bottom of that wall, or because this is so funny. The world is truly comprised of people doing stuff. Tell you that right there, man. Boy, oh boy. I just had to hit y'all with that. I'm sorry, man. Jeez Louise. Just give me a second to get myself together, man. People doing stuff. Shout to whoever did that, man. You did a service to humanity with that, man. Boy, oh boy. All right. And a good, one other thing, you know, about times like this when people doing stuff, you know, people on the planet doing stuff, you probably get some good videos from Anthony Highland. So we're going to try to open the podcast, you know, the way we know how. Now, I don't know if he's got anything on this, but it would be great if he did. But I don't know, you know. But let's see. We can take a scroll. Oof. That was a lot. If he was wondering. Oh, he got something.
And broke in.
He got something. It's 10 seconds of something. But I'm sure it's over the top. I'm sure it's more than we needed. Well, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. This is a serious situation, right? So maybe he's right on the money. You know, let's find out what all 10 of these seconds is about.
Armed Trump supporters have stormed a federal building and broke in. If you are a Trump supporter of any kind covering this and not referring to them as anything other than domestic terrorists, you are on the wrong side of history. I said what I said. Good day.
All right, so that's what he's got to say about that. Okay. mildly entertaining. Of course, she's on the side of righteousness and whatnot and whatever and what have you. You know what I mean? And that's what we've come to expect. You know what I'm saying? But he's just gonna be doing a lot of hard talking. You know, he's gotta say his point on the wrong side of history, of course. Whatever. You know, whatever. Shout to Highland. You know, if you want to follow his righteousness, I Speak 1906 on TikTok, because that's what everybody's doing, man. They're being on TikTok, squirrel dancing to Corvette. You know, and I think Highland probably did that one too. Am I gonna go look it up? No, absolutely not. But you can, and report back to me. Let me know you find. Oh, wow. You know, we're not going to get OD political on this podcast. You know that. You know, but this is going to be the third installment of Pod About Pods. Third and final. You know, not that we're not going to have new pods on, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing a blitz for you guys, introducing you guys to some new pods and becoming introduced to them myself, you know, for better or worse. Some of these are going to make another appearance on RiHuBe for sure. New men, same block, for sure, coming back. Just listen to that dude talk is just nutball shit. But I also think I got a comedy podcast. I don't even know if I really do have it, you know, and I don't know what it is. And I think it's a group of guys, and you know how I feel about groups of people on podcasts. So, but I think this is the first pod that actually understands itself to be comedy related. So. Maybe I don't do it on this one. Maybe I do it by itself on another podcast, so we can really dig into there. You know, especially if they're actually funny, then you guys might want to hear that, right? Of course, you know. And I ask you questions and I won't get an answer. You know why? Because this podcast is about me. All right, this is tyranny. You watch and listen to weekly. Okay, this is about me and me alone. Okay, you always give the answer that I want. And don't get it twisted and don't get it confused. And if you're looking at me right now, you might notice, wow, your boy, you know what I'm saying, got some nice things going on in the hair section. Why? It's been rough. The whole hair situation has been rough for this pandemic, man, especially because I don't know if you know, the whole barbershop and salon wave has been just crippled, you know what I'm saying, by this pandemic. It's a lot of them closing for good, or temporarily. And a lot of them can't work, you know what I'm saying, because of, for some reason, we understood these places to be transmission centers for COVID-19 and with no real evidence to support that. Meanwhile, of course, you can go to the supermarket where everybody goes, and they refuse to wear masks and fight about it. So I don't know. We're just people doing stuff. It's happening, and it's going to continue to happen, and that's just going to be what it is. So what the hell was I saying? Yeah, we're going to do Pod About Pods. And I got some good things going. I found a nice barber too, man. Because you got to understand with me, I don't need much from the barber. You know what I'm saying? But they be trying to do a lot with me. Because I get it. The way I look is your quote unquote resume. You know what I'm saying? But also the way I look is the way I want to look. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me look like everybody else because it's trendy or whatever. I don't want to look like everybody else. I already look like another guy. I'm over that. I was over that before you even got into it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to look the way I look and want to look, and I want to be okay with what I look like. And it's just tough to get barbers to do that, man. One thing they do all the time, they spray me with the damn asphalt, man. Real talk. I know my hair's gray. Like, I know that. And when I came into the barbershop, I didn't mention it. You know why? Because I'm okay with it. Why would you take it upon yourself to just start spraying street pavement on my head? Why would you do that? Why would you think that I would like to look 15 years younger? You know what I'm saying? I don't even look my own age. I look 15 years younger. Women's going to be having to check ID. before they talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need your help. All right, let me do this. I got this. I'm keeping this gray hair on here for a reason. You know what I mean? It's get me my respect. You know what I'm saying? As the years go by, I'm not doing a very good job just aging, and looking like an aged man. All right? And let me tell you how true that is. That's so true that it was a lady on the train, and she had a kid. And she had the kid sit next to me. And the kid was kicking me a little bit. And I kind of looked at the kid foot because, not my kid, but I'd break that little foot off. And I looked at her, and she told the kid, "Watch your foot. You kicking the man." And when she said the man, I looked around, like, "Yo, who's that?" That was me. All right, I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? And you just come to terms with stuff like that going on in your life as you get older. People got to look at you differently. You got to be, and if you can be in control of that, be in control of that. Let it happen the way you want it to happen. But don't let it happen with the street tar spraying on my head. Okay, that was a little bit of a tangent, but it's okay. It's all right. All right, this is the RiHuBe podcast. Okay, we are in the friendly nest, in the trust tree, at the zoo. Okay, and it's all right. You're welcome here. All right, so without further ado, let's get into some of these pods. How about that? Let's get into some of these pods. We got some good ones, I think. I'm just saying good ones because no matter what it is, if it's on this podcast, it's going to be a good one. You know why? Because if it's good, it's going to be good. If it's bad, it's going to be smoke. All right? And that's always good. All right. So shout out to MC, my guy McLovin. He was supposed to be our first call-in on this podcast. Maybe we'll make him the first call-in on this podcast still. All right. He sent me his people's podcast. It's called Late Night Vibes. Now, this continues that string of podcasts that we was talking about before. That, again, I don't understand it. Like, everybody wants to have the party podcast, and let's see if they make reference to any drinks, because they haven't made reference to any drinks, and I'm talking trash as a person who listens to Drink Champs, but I feel like that's a different thing. They're not necessarily trying to be a party. It's just a loose environment, and it's fully an interview platform. So as I'm saying that, I'm thinking maybe these podcasts are trying to mimic that to some degree, but you just don't have as interest in a platform as a celebrity would, and you have to know that about yourself. So Late Night Vibes, let's find out what's happening here. And again, if you don't know enough, most of these I don't be listening to, before I get them on this podcast. And some of them I do because some of them I'm worried is just going to be way too boring, because podcast is the wild fucking universe. Like anything can be on these things, no matter how terrible. You know what I'm saying? And we want it to be bad, so it could be funny. That's fine, but it just can't be absolutely horrid every time. Sometimes it's just too much. So, Late Night Vibes. It says, my first episode. Welcome to Sabian's room. Whoever is Sabian. Okay, and it's always weird to me when people put their face as like the podcast art, and I might even put this one on the video podcast because it's just a guy taking a selfie in his car. I don't know who this kid is, and you can't be mad at me if you see your face now on my podcast now. You know why? You put it as the public ass podcast art. You did that. Okay. All right, Sabian. So we're gonna plug in with Sabian. And it says uncut and raw, which is everybody. That's what everybody says they are, right? Uncut and raw. Sorry for the LOL. All right. Well, any hope I had of this podcast is just draining because sorry for the LOL. So we're gonna see if we can figure out what the LOL is. And it's a 24-minute podcast, so we won't listen to the whole thing, but we're gonna see if we can figure out what the LOL is. Maybe we find it, maybe we don't. Doesn't matter. All right, Late Night Vibes, everybody. Uncut and raw. Oh, you're already feeling how uncut and raw this is,
What
eh?
up? What up? What up, everybody?
Starts like a
this is
YouTube
Sabian. I'd like to
video.
introduce you to Sabian's room. First time doing a podcast. Something I've been talking about doing for a while.
Maybe the podcast had a different name. Maybe the name of it was Sabian's
Before
Room.
we start, all views and everything that I discuss has
Okay,
no
disclaimer.
views on behalf of the United States Army or the military.
Oh, this man's on in the military. That's
all
why.
my personal views.
Okay, so I respect it.
Just making that clear and short. Well, first of all,
You already
I'd like
made
to
bad
say,
decision joining the
thank you
damn army.
for joining me. Just taking some time out of your day, out of your life, just to listen to my
All right,
voice.
I'm bored already.
I really hope that
Terribly. Between this
you guys
sleepy
get
music
something from this,
and the way you
please,
set this up
I hope that this
as
is something
uncut
I do
and
in
raw.
the morning. But it could be something.
I thought it was gonna
just
be
seeing how I
explosions
do
when you
and
came
see what
in.
happens, I'm just having fun talking.
And now
you got the voice for it.
you're just
So why not
having
try to
fun
do something
talking. Yeah, you got the
that
voice
do?
for it. You got the NPR voice,
Talk
boy.
about issues or
Late night vibes. That's
just
the
different
right
things.
title.
I'm mainly
'Cause
gonna
this is
focus on,
sleepy.
What's going on around me in life.
Sleepy.
Not just my personal life, but the world itself right now.
The world itself.
So yeah. So let's get to it.
He got
man.
hyped for 1 second. Yeah.
First of all right, I know we're in March, and this has happened a few months ago. But
All right,
I'd like
we're gonna have to
say,
skip
rest in
forward.
peace to Kobe Bryant, Gianna
R.I.P.
Bryant, and the rest of the.
All right, we're gonna skip forward a little bit to see if anything
victims that passed away
unsleepy
of the
happens
helicopter crash.
on this podcast.
Kobe Bryant, hey, we make sure I got cleaning products, bleach, whatever.
You know what's crazy?
So,
I just skipped forward
anyhow,
like
that was pretty
more than 10 minutes,
pretty insane, man.
and you
shout out to
couldn't
all
tell
the healthcare workers, doctors, RNs,
that I skipped any
CNAs,
thoughts. Like the tone
they're out there. Those are really the ones on the front line.
and the subject matter seems the damn same.
That's doing this thing, man. It's like we really
And he kept the
have
music on.
heroes in front of us. So
He's really
shout out to them.
podcasting
It's
over a
getting really
beat.
horrible. It's like right now, just a few minutes ago, I was watching the news and it said that the United States has
Uncut and raw,
more
sleepy. All right,
cases
let's see if I
of
could
the
skip again
coronavirus than
on like
any other
another
nation.
10 minutes
Like,
and
that
see
happened
if we can
so
really
fast.
if we really feel
I
a
mean,
difference.
It just can't. So it's not about the wants again. Just think about the things that we take for granted.
Okay, this podcast is just the
How often do we
same,
take for granted just
the
little
same
things
thing.
like going outside,
straight through.
going to the park, and
I skipped like 10
being
minutes.
around
You
family and
couldn't
friends
tell me I
at
didn't
a
skip
bowling alley,
30
a
seconds
restaurant.
that time.
Some things that we just aren't gonna be able to do.
All right, this guy sounds like Jermaine Dupri talking trash on the end of a song, because that beat was hot. You know what I'm saying? That sounded like a So Def joint back in the day. Could be. You know what I'm saying? And now he sound like JD talking trash at the end of the song. Yeah, So Def. I got the voice for it. This ain't the views of the army. I got the voice for it. Keep your family close. So Def. The only reason why I want to hear another episode of that podcast is I want to know if he's still podcasting over that beat. That beat was hot though. Maybe he's a engineer and this podcast is to showcase his beats. Okay, that was Late Night Vibes, everybody. Okay. Not gonna say that podcast was trash. All right. I would say, because if you're talking trash, then that means it's fully just waste, just disgust. Like, it's probably in the trash can already. That's what you think of when you say something's trash. It's in the trash can already. I think that podcast is the crumpled paper. Now, if you have crumpled paper and you just have it on your desk, it's just crumpled paper. You know what I'm saying? You put the crumpled paper in the trash, full trash. It's full trash. I think that podcast is crumpled paper. So maybe we listen to another one later, and it's going to be the next episode, okay? Because I got no reason to be skipping around for these people. Got no reason to. And plus, if we skip around sometimes, most of the time, almost a guarantee. I just won't remember what we listened to and what we didn't. All right, so late night vibes, everybody. That's what that was. Shout out to Sabian. All right. And we got another one here. And it's called Not Your Average Girl Podcast. Okay. Okay. So with that name, if you know me, you know I immediately believe that this is going to be your average girl podcast. And I am crying and I am laughing because I'm just so positive that this is that's what it's going to be, okay? It's going to be just like all the other girl podcasts that we've listened to on this podcast. It's going to be Yanni Verse. It's going to be Al Avite. It's going to be Your Energy. It's going to be Protect Your whatever. You know what I mean? Because all of the girl power is just on one brand. That's it. You know, it hasn't branched out yet. They just say all the words and do all the things. And then that's how you fit in that girl power brand. And it's just going to be your average girl podcast. So we're going to see how much of this we can even get through. How about that? This is by some woman that I don't know. Let's see if we can find out who. It's Alika and Brittany. Okay, so not only do we have the average, not your average girl podcast. We got a duo, a team. All right, and we've seen this already. You know, women podcasting in teams, and we've just seen how much it doesn't work. Okay? And for this to just be checking all the boxes and also be named, you know, not your average is hilarious. You know what would be even more hilarious? If I am proven wrong somehow. I know too much about the universe, all right? If I am somehow proven wrong about this, that's gonna be even more amazing. I feel like I want to read. I'm gonna read the whole description of this first episode of Not Your Average Girl podcast. Or it actually says Not Your Average Girl Talk. But in the description says Not Your Average Girl Podcast. Okay, we already in average girl territory now. All right, which one is it? Don't know? Well, I don't know either. It's an Anchor podcast. You know how I feel about those? Oh no. And it says that the episode is sponsored by Anchor. Oh no. All right, so far, terribly average. I'm sorry. Okay, and the first episode is named The Real in Relationships. Okay, so we have Not Your Average Girl podcast. The first episode is about relationships. So far, so unique. So far, so special. Okay, I'm sorry. There's just so much. There's so much action here. I told you I'm going to read the description, and I'm going to do that. Okay. Welcome to Not Your Average Girl podcast. That's the first sentence. Let's go back. What was the first description of my podcast? How about that? Was it a welcome? No, I didn't have no welcome. Just the name of my first podcast is Introduction. You know, it's like album. Like I dropped the album. And it says Rude Talks, Anthony Highland, Ben Back, Popeyes, and Fat Guys. And that's bars. Okay, I just had to check myself real quick because we just gotta understand how unaverage this is supposed to be and how average is looking like it's gonna be. Okay, welcome to Not Your Average Girl podcast. In our intro episode, you will meet Coach B and Miss Alika. Unique so far? You will meet Coach B and Miss Alika as we talk about how to deal with toxic relationships. Toxic relationships and learn some of the structures of healthy ones. This episode is sponsored by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. How unique is it so far, guys? How unique? All right, man. Let's smash this button. I think I'm excited about this one. I think I'm excited about this one. All right. Yeah. All right. The real in relationships. What? 51 minutes of this.
Hey guys, this is Miss Alika here, and I just want to tell you about the platform
Anchor.
that we use to host our podcast.
Of course, the Anchor commercial.
Which is Anchor.com. If you haven't heard,
And you know
about
what's
Anchor,
making me
it's
mad?
The easiest way to make a podcast.
They got to put their Anchor commercials on
There's creation tools that allow you to
on their
record
Anchor
and edit your
podcast.
podcast right from your phone.
And
or
now,
computer.
subsequently, I
Anchor
have
will distribute
Anchor
your podcast
commercials
for you
on
so
my
it can be heard
podcast.
on
Mission
Spotify,
accomplished,
Apple
Anchor.
Podcasts, and
Hate
so
you
many
guys.
more. And
Mission
you can
accomplished,
make money
though.
from your podcast with no minimum.
You know what I'm going to do?
listening.
I'm going to submit my
So that
podcast
means
to Anchor.
One person can
See if you can
listen
find
and
it on
still
there.
make money from your podcast.
Because they probably won't listen to
Everything
it.
you
They won't
need
know
to
that
make
I
a
have
podcast
podcasts
in
saying
one
that I hate
place.
Anchor.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.
I'm going to
get
do that.
started.
Probably tonight. Shorty sound like a joint, though. All right, that's annoying.
Hey guys, and welcome to Not Your Average
All right.
Girl
She
Talk.
called somebody or
I
somebody
am
called
your girl,
her.
Coach B,
Oh, yeah, I'm your girl.
And I'm
It's
Miss
your
Alika.
girl. Are
and
you?
this is a safe
Dead
place where we
space.
can talk about all things girls, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Nah,
We're going to
The
talk
real.
about
I don't think so because
the
I'm a
real.
guy
We're
and
gonna
I can
talk
listen.
about the successes
So it's
and
already
the failures
unsafe.
of an everyday girl.
An everyday girl.
And this week, the topic is
So it's not your average
relationships.
podcast talking
So
about
we're gonna
average
jump right
shit.
in with the topic. So we all know that relationships have two sides. It has the healthy
Oh, yeah?
and the unhealthy. And here we're going to discuss what an unhealthy
This lady talks
and
like a
healthy
teacher.
relationships look like. So I pulled up some things
Obviously
that
from the South.
label a healthy relationship. It has trust, support,
I like her voice, though.
it isn't controlling, and it doesn't play games.
It doesn't play games.
Now I'm going to list a few
It's no fun.
unhealthy characteristics. It fuels fear.
This was written by a
It
woman.
is isolating. It is controlling.
Written by a woman.
It doesn't trust. And it plays mind games.
That's the description of a man.
Sit back and reflect on that list for a moment.
That's the description of a man.
Are you in healthy friendships or
Okay.
unhealthy friendships?
This podcast is for
Are you in
idiots.
healthy relationships or unhealthy relationships?
This is like them kid shows when they
I
ask
know,
you a
I
question
remember
and they give you
being their age,
give you
and I
a
was
chance
in a
to
mix of
answer.
both, and I was both parties in some of them. What about you?
I was.
Is this scripted?
in both. I was a healthy friend, and at the same time, I could have been an unhealthy girlfriend.
Right. They gave
And
the
vice
same
versa.
answer. Nothing average about that.
In middle school and high school, I can say now as an adult, I
There
I
it
was more
goes.
so of the unhealthy in both parts. In middle school and high
And
school,
this
I
is supposed to
didn't
be
know
like
it
the
meant to be
groundbreaking
a
speech
good
right here.
friend,
She's
per se.
being vulnerable and brave and
I
whatnot.
knew that I wanted to feel as if I was needed. So I would do what I felt like would
Sleepy.
get me attention. Or I would do what I felt like would get me.
If this woman's
to be
voice
on the
wasn't
popular
so
scene.
good, I would have
if that
turned this
meant
off already.
talking about a quote unquote friend of mine.
And the other one be
to
coming in
look
kind of
like I was
spicy too. They both
popular
got
in the
nice
eyes of the
voices.
people I wanted
And
to
the other
hang
one be
with,
coming in kind of spicy. And I'm kind of waiting for her to
that's what
come
I
in
did.
spicy again.
If it meant
Sleepy.
talking to a guy that I knew one of my friends liked because it made me more popular,
She's talking wretched shit.
that's
Go ahead,
what
girl.
I did.
Say that.
I think for young girls,
Say that.
wanting to feel that friendship and that love, we're kind of blinded and we kind of do
The
things that we
subject
wouldn't
matter is
normally
alright
do,
though. And what she's saying is
but
alright.
in
It's the way she's
vein
saying it, man.
of trying to be popular.
She delivering
we
gold
find
balls on a
ourselves in
bicycle right now.
situations Well, we are the unhealthy
You
friend.
got to deliver them boys on
we
a bullet
are the
train.
toxic friend.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because I know middle school, especially
spicy.
high school, like junior, senior year in particular, I became this whole other person
Spicy.
that I really was not. What couldn't have
Low
been
key spicy.
to try to make friends or feel like
She sound like she nice. You know what I'm saying? If you being nice, she nice.
Any kind of box, actually.
But this is the voice
I had friends, or like I could go and
that
do stuff
investigates
with people,
you
and I had people that liked me.
when you have problems with her.
And it became so bad to the point where I didn't even recognize who I was.
All I'm hearing when she talking is,
couldn't go to my mama's house.
so you was out with your friends,
she
huh?
wasn't gonna have that. So trying to like keep up two lives got to be a lot, and I ended up not even really being friends with the people who I.
And I'm terrible because I like it.
Alternate ego for.
Facts. Being
very decisive with her speech.
From,
she should do the podcast by herself.
I don't have any family there.
The teacher.
So my friends had to become my family. So
she just gotta deliver better.
2 kids. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. Everybody else.
But they both sound like joints, so I just kind of want to keep listening to it. Just
bukus of cousins.
Bukus of cousins. All right, now that made me want to turn it off.
So I was doing things just to fit in, even if it meant hurting.
Also, by the way, so far average. So
because
far,
I needed to feel like I fit in. So to speak to those friends that I had,
down to the subject matter,
toxic friend, and I don't think people really realize that they're being toxic while they're in it.
Sounds
it takes
scripted.
a level of maturity,
of course,
and
it takes
a level of checking yourself to honestly gauge.
All right, so that was almost 6 minutes of that, and full average. Okay, and now that I say that, let's give it the benefit of the doubt, right? So 1 hour show, basically 51 minutes of that. Let me keep that going, and let me smack it somewhere in the middle and see if we find anything that we like.
If you are a healthy friend, letting these people tear you down, they don't mean you any good.
It's just like the last podcast. She's speaking in the same tone, same cadence. Look, spicy.
Of course, family, friends, foes.
Oh my God,
everybody,
all of it. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person
cadence that she's delivering is so sleepy.
You.
And we in the 25th minute now, and I left it in the 6th minute.
You like you care.
That means that was 19 minutes of this droning.
Even your ride or die can't go for.
She was dropping off.
You can go for you. Like, let's be clear about it.
That's honesty.
And growth.
Dead
Because
space.
I don't think in middle and high school I really would have.
Don't I always talk about that? Dead
I
space.
Go harder for myself than my best friend was gonna go for me.
And you know what?
What?
You know, the young girls listening to this podcast right now.
Of course.
I want you to take a look at your left.
There you go.
And I'm going to tell you to take a look at your right. You know how you hate.
Because nobody's ever done that before. That's groundbreaking.
You in college, whatever. But
they might not be.
Honestly, you can look at your friend. I started.
All right. So Shorty sound like maybe she in the house trying not to be too loud. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But she sound like a damn teacher. And it just sounds so unnatural and strange. You know, that the cadence that she's speaking in. I don't know. I'm baffled by it. I don't get what the wave was. The spicy joint though, she could probably make a better showing of the podcast. But her method of speech is probably too concise. Maybe she can't hold the podcast for an hour. Don't know. Won't know. Maybe we'll revisit that again. But I feel like it's going to be... Let's see how many episodes is going on here. Okay, well. They don't number the episodes. Okay, but it says that it's 16 episodes. So, 16 episodes of that same dynamic. You know what I'm saying? The woman just really coming in on a sleepy voice and then spicy picking it up every now and again. I don't think I could stand that. Because spicy is obviously jumping in by phone. That means that the teacher is hosting the podcast. You know, maybe they switch it up. Who knows? I'd be interested to see whether or not that happens. and maybe Spicy just be blasting off. I think she the one who did the Anchor commercial too. Sound like it, cause that commercial was Spicy Boy. All right, shout out to Spicy and the Teacher. On Not Your Average Girl Talk or Not Your Average Girl Podcast, whichever one this is. I think it's Girl Talk because the picture on this joint. Okay, I think it says Not Your Average Girl Talk. I can't really see it because they kind of got Not Your Average around the girls. It's like a picture of a woman. Not your average is around the woman's neck, like a necklace, and then it says Girl Talk. I think in script. I don't know because I'm looking at a real tiny version of it. I'll find it and blow it up for you guys. Maybe if I can. We'll see. All right. Well, that was that. And I feel like I was right. Because I know how the universe works. Let's do at least one more. We'll do Anthony Highland's podcast. Now he had a podcast here and I didn't even know about it. And it's around 20 minutes a pop. He did a trailer for his own podcast. Now, that always escapes me why people do that. Because it's not like podcasts are just floating out in the ether and where you'll find a trailer of it. If you did a video trailer and then got it out there, that's basically as an ad. Okay, I get that. But an audio trailer for a podcast that exists within the understanding of your podcast, meaning people already have to know about the podcast and search it, or see it on a platform in order to listen to your trailer. And I know some of you are saying, well, duh, they'll see it on the platform, listen to the trailer. Well, stupid. If you're going to put something on the platform for people to listen to, put the first episode. And now you guys don't feel so smart, huh? Just put the first episode. And let that be your draw. This 51 seconds of intro, I'm sure, probably could have just been in the first episode. So we're going to listen to that, and we're going to listen to the first episode, because the first episode says intro to TikTok, whatever that means. Okay, and interracial relationships is the next one, because this is Not Your Average Girl Talk. I think this podcast is Not Your Average Girl Talk. And I see one up here that says, I am a champion, and it's just Not Your Average Girl Talk. So, trailer. Let's get the trailer moving. Oh, it's the same.
If you found your way to my podcast, you already know what time it is. Buckle up. Let's talk about it. Are you tired of your voice being silenced?
Tired of your voice not being
silenced? Are you okay
silenced?
with having uncomfortable conversations? Well, over here on Let's Talk About It, we're going to do just that. We're going to engage in intellectual discourse that is going to transcend your thought process.
Is that right?
So if you are ready for intellectual conversation, if you are ready to talk about life, love, current events, and things of that nature, well, you stick around and you get your mind transcended, and then you liberate yourself.
I have to be quiet
so that you give others the ability to liberate themselves as well. Thank you so much for pulling in. Buckle up. Get ready for the ride. If you haven't heard...
I don't think I've enjoyed anything from Highland that much in a long, long time. Oh, why you say buckle up so hard? Oh, man. And he was going somewhere with the car analogy. Thank you for pulling in. Oh, and then he just fell off. Thank you for pulling in. Buckle up. Like, ease into it. You got that. And my I Hate Anchor platform just went up 10 notches because he had the same beat as the other dude, Simeon, or whatever his name is, Symbian. Room Sabian, and that's got to be like a generic Anchor beat that they provide, and he was podcasting over the joint too. These guys are making the same podcast, And if he was gonna do that, he could have smoothed it out, the car analogy with more words, thank you for pulling in, but make sure you buckle up. And that sounded good, I think. Maybe it's between my voice, not necessarily my voice, but my method of expression, and then the added words, like it sounds real. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for pulling in. Buckle up. Ridiculous, this guy. And of course, intellectual everything. Intellectual this, that. Everybody's intellectual, ain't they? Meanwhile, we continue to covet intelligence. You know what I'm saying? If everybody was intellectual, we wouldn't do that. Okay? So when we continue to covet intelligence, we foster the understanding that everybody's stupid, because that's the truth. Okay? And you got to see this Buckle Up podcast artwork here. It's just so damn... it just hurts me so much to see people just skimping on their artwork, because it looked like the Chum Bucket, SpongeBob, or maybe I'm bugging, maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. It just reminded me of that. But he's got this buckle, and of course everything's black because it's not a unique image. He slapped a bunch of generic images together. A fist, a seat belt, and then a sign. And it's so ridiculous because the seat belt, I think it's supposed to be being grabbed by the sign, by the hand maybe, but the seat belt goes across the knuckles, which is of the hand, and not behind them, like when you grab something. So, all right, trash art, check, but let's get into this next episode before we gotta get the hell out of here.
Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast.
Anchor commercial.
Allow me to explain. First and foremost, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now, come on. Who doesn't like convenience? Anchor will distribute your podcast for you.
All right, this one is different.
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many
other ones.
more.
I think he added some
You can make
extras.
money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast literally in one place.
Right.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Let's go.
Oh, that right there.
If you're listening to this podcast, you already know what time it is.
Oh, do I?
Buckle up. Let's talk about it. So I want to thank you all for coming to my very first podcast episode, the Buckle Up podcast, where we're going to talk about it. We're not afraid to have uncomfortable conversations, and we're willing to confront any and all ideologies within reason.
I just want to know if anybody else is on here. I really want to know.
We're going to be talking about TikTok. TikTok is how I gained one of my most massive platforms to the tune of over 340,000. So we're going to talk about how I blew up on TikTok, how you can blow up on TikTok, why people become shadow banned, and then we're going to do a question and answer session, as well as we have 10 creators that we're going to shout out toward the end of this episode.
Just shout outs?
So it's without further ado,
and it's not a discussion.
Let's get into it. So originally I learned about TikTok from my wife, who also happens to be on TikTok, envy_oso_arrogant. Shout out to my wife and my family. And I thought it was just a kids app. I figured, kids can get on this app and do little dance challenges and things of that nature.
But adults can do anything kids can do. That's the
creator who I would further go on to call my brother, my friend, the Conscious Lee, to whereby he would post intellectual content and oftentimes call out other creators for their nonsense and their nonsensical ways, as well as provide intellectual rebuttals to their arguments. So I figured if he could do that, and at that time he had, I want to say, over 250,000 some odd followers.
Okay, this is not sleepy.
600,000. Shout out to him. And I figured if he can do it, I know I can do it.
But terribly.
So I started posting
uninteresting to
videos.
me.
I'm a spoken word artist. My album, Metaphorically Speaking, is available on all streaming platforms. And I
Right.
started to post
We know what this
visuals
podcast
of my
is for.
poems.
This is
to whereby I had 2 poems
Anthony
blow
Highland
up.
Advertising
And by blow up, I'm
Agency.
talking about to the tune of over 600,000 views.
To the
One of
tune.
my poems was talking about acceptance for my children if they were to come out to me as part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And the second video was called Black Girl Magic, a tribute to my daughter. If in fact, for whatever reason,
how do you know where to put the
someone
plus?
tried to convince her that she wasn't beautiful.
plus then.
And both of them did very well. I gained 40,000 followers within my very first month. And then I gained over 100,000 followers a week into my second month. So I gained a platform rather quickly.
Podcast
and with
is
that,
to the
let me
tune
pause to
of
make
boring.
this point. With great power, we say it comes, comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
But we also have a responsibility
Ben.
to ourselves. And I think we miss out on that aspect of things because we're so used to pushing out content to everyone else.
There's no discussion. It's just him talking.
We ourselves need to be taken care of as well. So I gained a platform rather quickly, still learning
this is
the
from
platform.
October, and I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this until like 2 weeks ago.
Well, how can I blow up on TikTok? What are some of the best things that I can do to blow up on TikTok? And I believe one of the main ways, and this is my personal opinion, sue me, one of my main ways I think that people can blow up, not just rather quickly, but just in general on TikTok, is by being authentic. Oftentimes people post what's called shock value content because they know it's going to invoke a specific emotion from an individual.
You guys let me know if that's what you
see
when you see Anthony Highland.
Triggered,
authentic,
and then they diminish it to it either being dark humor.
Is it this
overwhelming? But I think one of the greatest ways is to be authentic. Be authentic. Be your authentic self. Because here's the deal. And I have
if you're authentically boring,
viral versus
it won't
visible,
work for you,
right? So what you go viral for is most oftentimes what people are going to associate you with. However, what you make visible
is people put on social media
on a consistent basis. I speak 1906. Anthony, what do you mean by that? So I tell my guys, typically that are my mentees, when you post things on social media, more specifically TikTok,
I ain't got no mentees.
Your videos that go viral
I ain't got no mentors
are the ones that people are going to see most. So it would behoove you to be as authentic as possible in that because that's what people are going to know you for. Now, for those that are visible,
word very literally means
on your page.
Put hooves
they may not
on.
always go viral,
like
but they are what you stand for. Now, let's talk about into getting shadow banned, right? What does it mean to be shadow banned?
Word is
oftentimes what it
metaphor.
means to be shadow banned is that it is the suppression of your content. Sometimes purposeful, sometimes unpurposeful. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. In that, what happens is, and it's been my experience, and I've been on TikTok since March. We are now in October. It has been my experience
that there's going to be some point
one of 3 reasons.
Maybe this gets good.
Either one, and this is one of
I don't even know what a shadow ban is.
I wouldn't even, you know what? I wouldn't even say egregious. I would say one of the most uncomfortable realizations that people have to come to, that I have to confront sometimes. And it's just that your content is boring.
This is go up.
People are just not watching your content. So the TikTok algorithm, what it wants to do is it wants to push your content out to a larger audience. Now, if your content is not being pushed out to a larger audience,
I think
one of the main reasons why is that people are just not engaging with your content. Now, the second thing is...
All right, that was the end of that for me. It was actually the end of it way earlier, but I just gave it a chance. And it's just... it's Anthony Highland in long form, man. What are you gonna do with that? It's the exact thing. I have to say that it's not a bad podcast, though. Because he's speaking his piece. He's rapid fire. You know what how I like to say. It wasn't the dead space and stuff. But I think what's killing it for me is that it's his stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know how I feel about his stuff. It's not for me. There's definitely an audience to be had with that. And that was kind of like an instructional audio, kind of informative something or other. I think we might have more fun with that podcast when he starts to give his opinion. Like even that relationship one that he got. Let's see which one is that. It's the next one. So maybe we'll do that next. Okay, and it says more stuff about TikTok. Okay, let's read the description of this one that we listened to. In this episode, we discuss how I discovered TikTok, blew up on TikTok, how you can blow up on TikTok, and why people become shadow banned. We conclude the episode with a Q&A. The episode is sponsored by Anchor, yada, yada, yada. Maybe we should have jumped into that Q&A, but who cares? The next one says, confronting problematic behavior and language from TikTok. Okay, it says interracial relationships. This episode, what? I don't get it. Okay, whatever. It's just TikTok. It's a TikTok podcast. All right, and I don't care about TikTok as it is. So, okay, that's going to be whatever it is. And people on the video podcast, if you see me, like I'm talking, and I'm kind of squirming in the chair a little bit, I keep lifting myself up and stuff, you know why? Because I got to remind you, this podcast is a one-shot deal. You know what I'm saying? I do it for the 1 hour straight. Okay, and when I sat down for this podcast, I immediately had to poop. Okay, why didn't I feel like I had to poop before I started the podcast? Probably something to do with gravity. I was standing up. I don't know. Sat down. Maybe it was the impact. Don't know. Maybe literally shook some shit around, and now got to poop. All right, and I feel like it's also some farts mixed in with that poop, and you know how that goes. So it's full up on this bottom half for me. And that's just, me knowing the risks before I take the job. You feel me? I'm finishing this podcast. Got about 10 minutes of podcast left. I've been holding this poop for almost an hour, and it's going to be a full hour that I'm going to hold this poop for. Okay? I won't die. And you know why? Keep myself in order and work in order. You feel me? Where you can hold a poop for an hour and you don't die and you don't shit yourself. Okay? This is the importance of health. And this is coming from me, Rude of RiHuBe podcast. All right? I tell you what the importance of health is. Now, a lot of people will tell you stuff like living long and this, that, and yada. Let me tell you some real talk. You don't want to live that long. Okay? Only thing that happens when you live long is you live a lonely life, because the rest of your friends gonna die. All right? Why? They don't take care of themselves. Okay? So you grow up, and then there comes a point where you grow down. All right? And this is somewhere around your 60s. You can start to grow down. That's when your hair start falling out and your back start hunching over and whatever. These are something of inevitabilities. There's some people who beat it, but there are something of inevitabilities because the body's breaking down. Okay? And you can prolong this for as long as you like, but it won't be the same as being young. You'll be old. And at that point, you kind of just watching people die. That's it. So the best I could hope for is maybe when I'm 60-something and I'm in really good shape, which I'm trying to get into, man. I'm trying to do a thing with what they call it? Something overload. I forgot, but it's a workout thing, and I'm trying to get there because I'm trying to be a brolic 60-year-old dude smashing, like 40-year-old joints. Like that's what you can hope for in your life, So we could just do that. And what was I talking about? Yeah, holding this poop. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm conditioned in a way where my body can sustain me through real life situations, like what I just described to you on this podcast. Okay, because it's a very real thing. Sometimes you might be in a situation where you gotta hold your poop, and you want to be able to do that. Without there being, some dire consequences. You heard it here first. And real talk, I be talking to people about this too, because they always talking about, even women and pooping and stuff, because I just talked about poop and stuff, and some people gonna have a problem with that. Of course, I know, especially gonna be some ladies gonna have some problems with that. Now, I just feel like only one of us can really be farting and pooping the place down. Real talk. Because as much as we like to think, men and women are not the same. There's not a real equality there. We live by different rules, for sure, because we're different things. Okay? In the same way, I can't hold off and knock a woman out. She can't knock me out with the fuck ass. You know what I'm saying? We can't be knocking each other out. And this is just the price that either of us pay, you know? We rolled the dice and we got what we got. You know? No, you can't be pooping my house down and farting the place up. And no, I can't choke slam you. You know what I'm saying? Both things that we probably want to do. Can't do it. Okay, so you know what the cure for domestic violence is? Clean booty. And that's just hardcore logic coming from me. And I just had to take a second to think about that too. You know what I mean? And I really mean a second because it wasn't very long. Okay, so let's remind you. Audio podcast on Mondays, video podcast on Wednesdays for sure. And you might notice I'm cutting down the amount of podcasts I do in a month. Not because I want to, but because I have to. One, life's happening. Two, I got to focus on advertising. Okay, so tell a friend to tell a friend about this podcast. I understand it's difficult to explain to people, and I understand maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea. But that's mostly because it's a unique thing, you know. It's not quite a talk show. It's not quite a comedy. It's not really anything but me talking, you know, me speaking my thoughts, you know. So what's the good news is the podcast audience is definitely rising, both on social media and on the podcast platform, you know. But I know that it's going to be a slow build because I'm not a comedian, you know, but it's kind of funny and it's hard to explain that to people. And then there's just too many people out here on this planet who just want to take everything so damn seriously. Those are people who got nothing going on in their life. Nothing going on in their life. My life's serious already. You know, I'm not looking for more things to take seriously. Like, think about that. Why would you do that? Why would you be seeking more things to feel appalled, outraged, and enraged about? Like, why would you do that? What's the purpose? You know, I don't know, and I can't think of it. The only thing I can really think of is that you got nothing going on. Alright, everything's light. It's light for me. You feel me? That's my about relationships, and on RiHuBe podcast about relationships too. When you know when women pull up on me and I'm speaking to them, whenever I speak very lighthearted, you know. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. For what? For what? We don't have a life together. We don't share nothing. We're making everything for ourselves. We are separate things. Why do I need to have a serious conversation with you for? At the point where we have a life together and everything's, you know, working in tandem, and our existence is us relying on each other, we'll have plenty of serious conversations. You know, keep it light, keep it fun while you can. You know, as soon as you pop a damn gremlin in there, it starts to get serious. You know what I'm saying? And the gremlin starts making doo-doos, it gets serious. You know, and it can just be so much fun before that. So let it be. Just let it be fun. Okay, don't fun police your own life. Plenty of other people looking to do that. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like me talking right now is a little bit choppy, that's because it is. I'm making it through this 1 hour. But you gotta remember, my guts is just, you know, having a little bit of a party because I still got poop. Okay? And I'm definitely gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna do that very soon. And that's just the first thing I'm gonna do as soon as I run off of this camp. Okay, so once again, Audio podcast Mondays, video podcast Wednesdays. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You can watch on Facebook. You can watch on YouTube as well. And you can generally find this podcast on all major podcast outlets. If there isn't one that it's on and you want it to be on there, just say something to me. Just holler at me. If you Google RiHuBe, RiHuBe, one word, what you're gonna find is me. Okay? And that's the perks of making up a word. Okay? So we made up words. We talked about pods. We talked about poops. And fuck yeah.